Welcome to Chapter 1. Why do we create monsters? This is the prompt, that is the assignment sheet, for our first essay. Please make sure you read this very carefully. There's a lot here. The good news is all my prompts basically follow the same pattern. So once you get used to how I present the material, you should be in pretty good shape. So here we go. Chapter 1 essay, why do we create monsters? That's our theme for this chapter. Write an essay in which you respond to one of the following questions, taken from Monsters, Chapter 1. Now, I'm not going to go through all these questions. I don't have the time for that, at least not here. But you see the author, this is Stephen King. At the end of the essay are a series of questions, usually about 8, 9, or 10 questions per essay. Now, some of these questions are used for our discussion threads, right? And then some of them are used here in our essay prompt. I can tell you, quite frankly, there is no overlap. Please do not use a discussion thread question for your essay assignment. You must choose from these here. So the first question is from Stephen King, Making Connections, number 7. Hitchcock, the reflection response question 5, or the Making Connections, number 8. Del Toro and Hogan. Okay, so King is Stephen King, right? Hitchcock he was talking in general about the nature of the horror genre. Hitchcock, of course, is talking about the creation of the Frankenstein story by Mary Shelley. Del Toro and Hogan, they're all about vampires, right? Making Connections, 8 or 9. Klosterman is an article about the zombie myth. Making Connections, number 9. Brothers is about Godzilla. Making Connections, 8 or 10. Clarice Lowry writes an article about the internet phenomenon called Slender Man. Question 5 or question 8. And Stephen Asma, again, writing more philosophically about the whole issue of monsters. Question 6 or question 8. So read the essays, read the questions, find one that excites you. Find one that you think you can really, pardon the expression, sink your teeth into. Okay, so something that you'd really be excited working on and something that maybe is intellectually engaging for you. Okay, that's the best way to do it. Don't say, oh, this will be the easiest question, because that's probably a good way to get a C as opposed to an A. The final draft of the essay is due on Monday, September 20th, end of the day, which is 11:59 p.m. Okay, so you have right up to before Monday turns into Tuesday. Be sure to follow the out-of-class essay guidelines for matters of form and style. Okay, that's the out-of-class essay guidelines. It is available to you on Canvas in the introduction handouts module. You can print out the out-of-class guidelines for yourself or just download it onto your own device. There is a video that accompanies the essay guidelines, and I really encourage you to watch that video because the guidelines themselves are not self-explanatory all the time. You kind of need maybe a little bit more help to understand what's going on. Now be sure to include a word count at the end of your essay, right? That's just pretty much one of the things that we do. It's not a huge deal. It's very easy to do. Just please make sure that you do it. Remember, you must meet minimum requirements, including the word count, sources, and subject matter. No late essays will be accepted without a verifiable medical excuse or legal issue. Okay, so if there's something going on, you need to talk to me. You also have to give me some sort of evidence, right, that what you're telling me is true. Now, we don't just throw out an essay and say, here is the essay question, turn it in on such and such a day, and that's all I'm going to do with you. Not at all. We actually break it up into some parts. Some steps, 3 steps actually. The first step is the creation of the thesis statement and a topic outline that goes with it. This is due by Friday, September the 3rd, 11:59 p.m. Now, on Canvas, in the Chapter 1 module, is a sample thesis topic outline. You need to look at that. There is a video that goes with it, where I talk about what's on that handout. Okay? If you do not follow the instructions, your grade will suffer. Okay? If you do not turn in something at all, of course, you will get a 0. There is a class participation grade assigned for this. But it's more than just about the grade. This gives me an opportunity to see what you're thinking. Where are you going with this? What are you going to write about? The thesis is, of course, your argument. It is essentially the core response to the question that you chose. It is a statement that you're trying to prove. The topic outline, as you'll see in the sample, is just a sort of brief, maybe bullet point list of major issues that you intend to cover in that essay. But it is kind of what we might call a roadmap for the essay, right? Roadmap to say, here's what I'm going to do. Also, I want you to have an MLA citation entry for at least one source. Okay, so one source in proper MLA format. It can indeed be an article from the book. So if you pick Stephen King, for example, then that's great. You can put that in. Make sure you do it in proper MLA citation fashion. Again, in the module, Chapter 1 module, I have a sample of how to do this, particularly for articles from our textbook, the monster book. Okay? So again, no excuses for doing it wrong. After Friday, September the 3rd, you'll start working on building your rough draft, right? And you have a pretty good amount of time. What I will do after the thesis outlines are turned in, I will divide the class into what I call peer editing groups. If we were in a classroom, for instance, I might seat 4 of you or 5 of you together in a group. Well, I can't do that on the online environment per se, but we mimic it by creating these peer groups online. I will post instructions on how to get to your group on the Canvas page. Look for that in the announcements because that will come up. Your rough draft is to be submitted to your work group as well as to me by Wednesday, September the 15th. Okay, so you have 12 days between the time that you've turned in the thesis and the time that the rough draft is due. Then please submit the completed peer editing sheets to your Canvas group by the end of Friday, as well as to me. The peer editing sheets will again be on Canvas. You take one of those sheets, you read the essay, a rough draft done by one of your peers, you fill out the peer editing sheet, basically answering questions, and then you submit that so that they can read it and I can read it. That will be due Friday, September 17th by 11:59 p.m. So as we look at this overall, what are the minimum requirements? Your essay needs to be 1,000 to approximately 1,400 words. Okay, I don't consider that an especially long essay, right? But it's a well-developed essay. If it goes much more than 1,400 words, I would ask you, do I need all this? Do you need all this? If you do, then fine, go ahead. But if you're writing long just for the sake of writing long, that's not good. Okay. Make sure you have a strong essay structure, including a good introduction, concession paragraph, rebuttal arguments, main body, and conclusion. Again, on Canvas, look at my standard argumentative essay handout and video. You need to have at least 2 sources for this paper. One source can be the article from the textbook. So for instance, if I was doing Stephen King, that would be one article, and then something else. It could be a movie, it could be a magazine article, it could be something from a website. For this first assignment, I'm being pretty loose about it, okay? You can choose a lot, but always make sure you have good sources. If it's not a good source, I will certainly not be impressed. But we're going to talk a lot more about sources this all semester long. I'm leaving this up to your judgment, first of all. And always, always, always in this class, we use Mla Format. So Mla Format in presentation and documentation, including correct works cited list. As I've said, we have our handouts on the Canvas module. There are also additional web links to Purdue OWL and the MLA Style website itself. So please make sure you refer to these handouts or the videos that I have for you on Canvas, or the correct current edition of the MLA handbook itself, which is now in the 9th edition. Okay, please, above all, if you have any questions after having looked at this prompt over, listening to my video, reading the articles, looking at the questions, if you still have questions, please contact me either through Canvas message or through email, or come to my office hour. Looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.